StaceyTV.com. We want to know, did you know? Well, we're getting ready to get personal. It's that time of the show where we get to meet someone and find out a little bit more about them. So do female relationships really shape the world, Kelley?
Yes.
I think so. More than 60% of girls avoid a variety of activities because they feel bad about their looks, according to a recent Dove Global study. And that is a did you know. 19% won't try out for a team or club. 23% won't go to a beach or pool. 13% won't give an opinion. And 15% won't go to school. I don't fall in any of those categories. I wonder why. Our guest today gives insight on women and why they are so important to each other. Please help us welcome author of Female Fusion, Different Flowers from the Same Garden. I love that. Stacey Rowcliffe. Stacey, welcome to Kelley and Cassandra Live.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome, Stacey.
Thanks.
You have a lot of great statistics, Stacey, about females that I never really thought about. So I'm wondering, because I'm an extrovert, I don't fall in any of those categories. Why do you think so many women do fall into those categories where they don't want to reach out?
Well, they've just done a lot of studies with girls and their self-esteem, where girls are pretty good till about age 8. And then after that, we start comparing ourselves to everybody else. And what that really does is it kind of projects negative energy onto our own self-esteem. So instead of just loving who we are and being good there, yours is probably like, some people just have that reinforced a lot at home. And they just have that, they believe in themselves. But a lot of women do not.
Right.
Yeah.
It might be something within our personalities that we're kind of grown with that extrovert or introvert personality, but also don't you think with now, especially with social media and the magazines, Beyonce was just on television upset because she had her pictures in a magazine and they took her body and airbrushed her curves out and made her look like basically just this very skinny woman, and she was upset about it. And women see that and think that's her real body.
Yeah, that's where we compare like all those visual images. Part of the book, I'm donating part of the proceeds of Female Fusion to Dove's self-esteem movement for their foundation for self-esteem. And they just have done a lot of studies, research and stuff with girls, and discovered that just those images, seeing those images, actually just we start to think negatively about ourselves or compare ourselves to what we're seeing.
So why do you say different flowers from the same garden? What's your premise behind that, Stacey?
What I did in the book is I went back to from builder generation all the way to current generation and interviewed women from all those generations, and I found that when I was interviewing them, I asked them all the same questions, and even though they all come from very different backgrounds, we're really pretty similar on certain things. The main things, like what was important in a relationship. They felt that, everybody felt that trust and respect was a big thing in any relationship they had. Pet peeves, they all mentioned that the thing they disliked most about other females is the fact that when we start engaging in this negative, like gossiping or competing with each other kind of behavior, almost everyone, no matter what generation or background they came from, mentioned all those things. So the reason I entitled it The Different Flowers from the Same Garden is, ultimately we all came from the same place. So I start with kind of talking about Eve and then how that has evolved from where we started back then to now where we are now. And I mean, within a short period of time, we have really gone through a lot of changes females themselves have. I mean, builder generation women, most of them didn't work out of the home. And so, it's not that long ago, and then the boomer generation, they started working out of the home, but like so much has been thrown at us. Now women manage home, and most of them work jobs, and a lot of them have careers, and I think that's where the self-esteem stuff becomes very, very important, because how we interact with each other is kind of built on what we think of ourselves.
That's so true.
Very, very true. And you talk about it's really true. I mean, we are paving the way now. I mean, we are more graduates are women than men. There's so many power positions that we are in that we were not in before, and yet we still take a back seat and have these inferior complexes of getting out there and presenting ourselves.
Yeah, and just being who we are, and just being proud of that, and I think the big pitfalls is the thing with where we run each other down. Instead of just really supporting each other in a positive way, we're competing with each other. Why not support each other? It's hard enough. Life is hard enough.
Backbiting.
Yeah.
But and men handle that differently, don't they, Stacey? Because they're more physical, and they typically don't get into cliques and talk about each other. They typically just try to outwork the other person.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, they can compete and then just let go of it more. Women are like a lot of. We do a lot of we want validation. A lot of we communicate well, but relationships are very important to us. And so that validation becomes very important to us. So it's harder for us to let something go when something happens, competitively versus men.
You talk about building positive bridges of real sisterhood. Can you give us one inspirational or positive point that maybe we can work on to be better friends, better women toward each other?
Well, I know one thing that I discovered when I interviewed women for Female Fusion was, you think you know somebody, and we kind of, some people we know better than others, but I guess one big tip would be to make an effort to understand where that other female is coming from before you jump to judging her or get upset. Because, at age 8, they found that things we experience from 8 to 12 kind of shape who we are, our beliefs and stuff. So maybe the reason that person is, acting the way they are is because of where they came from, something that you don't know about. So make an effort to try and understand them before you jump to a conclusion, judge them, get involved in that negative competing and gossiping.
Well, Stacey, we can get your book, Female Fusion, and it's different flowers from the same garden, and we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, and hopefully you can give us some other things to help us tear down those negative walls, right?
Definitely.
And advocate other women. Be inspirational. So we're going to come back and find out some key things there with Stacey Rowcliffe, author of Female Fusion, different flowers from the same garden. I love that. I wonder what kind of flower I am. We're going to figure that out when we come back. All right, Stacey, we'll be right back, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be back with you here on Kelley and Cassandra Live on 1380 The Woman and 1380 The Woman.
Speaking with Stacey Rowcliffe, she's the author of Female Fusion, different flowers from the same garden, which Kelley and I love that title, Stacey. And we were getting ready to go into some more tips you have for us so we can get along better as women. Let me ask you something. What are some common pitfalls women experience throughout the course of same-gender friendships? You touched a little bit about that backbiting, I should say.
Yeah.
What are some other pitfalls?
Well, I think that, just learning not to compare ourselves to each other and really learning how to be really supportive of each other. Like sometimes I think trust is broken due to some of those negative behaviors, like the gossiping and the competing with each other. And I think that once that trust is broken, then, a lot of women every woman has had that experience where, you thought you could trust your girlfriend and you found out that you just couldn't. And I think that if we can just try and resist the urge to go there, like just keep it positive and supportive, that's the first step, definitely.
I like it. Resist the urge. I like that. I remember when you have 3 friends when you're a little girl, so you're 8 or 9, and then the one wants to pull you from the other one. Let's not play with her today. And you feel trapped almost. Like you have to choose a friend.
Yeah, because we're trying to make everybody happy. Yeah, we want to make everybody happy, and ultimately kind of what happens is people get hurt in the process sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It seems like there's always that one bully kid. There's that one that, is the stingy one, or and there's the one. And most people, the reason why they talk about other people is because they're insecure themselves. It makes them feel better, and you learn that from a very early age that that's happening, and it does stick with you later and makes you not trust people, be a little less secure around people because you've been hurt so many freaking times as a kid. So you're so right about that, and it is that 8 to 12. Those are rough years. Even getting into that 13 though, 14, because you're kind of that teenager and you're thinking you're all grown up, but you're still being taught as a kid, and kids get worse at that age.
Well, and they're kind of trying to figure out who they are, and want to be accepted. by everyone, so they're kind of looking outwardly to do that. I think one of the main rules that I teach with the workshops I do with young girls is just remember, stop comparing yourself to everyone else. And I use the saying a lot, be beautiful, or beautiful except for be beautiful, so be yourself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I like it.
Yeah, so be beautiful.
Yeah. Do you believe, women who don't nurture female friendships during their childhood, do you think that later on we're not good friends then? If we don't have that around us, do you think that is that something you can work on and change? Do you give tips on people who possibly were really bad at? Because I actually know someone that said she was just really a rotten kid. I mean, she was really mean to people, and she was angry herself as a kid. And now she's this big volunteer person, and she does all these things to help. Either she's trying to forget what she did, or, how can you really change yourself like that?
I think really the first, I don't think you have to have it when you're younger. So a lot of people don't. They're still growing up. And but within my book, I have a section that talks about, sisterhood. And even if you didn't have it when you were younger, you can still develop it. You just have to first be aware of how you're behaving, and then take some steps to learn from other people as to how a healthy, supportive way is to start building those relationships. One of the people I interviewed was a mother-daughter, and they shared a story just about how they had maintained their relationship throughout past parenting into becoming more of a sisterhood as they got older. Just through... You
mean the mother and daughter they had a sisterhood between each other?
Yeah, it's a really good story that they shared, because there was the parenting stage, but then she's now older, the daughter is, and the mom just made a real effort to always be connected, take the time to make that connection throughout the day with her, and even if it was just a phone call, so I think that just learning that stuff, just to make that because what they talked about was a lot of little things, like just calling each other throughout the day, or sending an email, or let's go to lunch, that kind of stuff.
Do you think that women can encourage each other women by not buying into it? I know that even I have a middle school son who tells me that sometimes some of the girls will say, well, don't talk to her because I'm mad at her. And he'll say, well, I'm not going to do that. Both of you are my friends, and just won't budge to that. So as adults, do you think that if women can take a stand like that and say, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to be a friend to both of you, and we all need to do that, that helps or can help?
I definitely think so. I think then you're just, you're showing through action your leadership of, that's not what I choose. You can do what you want, but I'm choosing to treat everybody with respect. Because the other thing that they all mentioned when I interviewed them was, if they aren't getting respect in a relationship, that relationship, they didn't want it, or it wouldn't last, kind of thing. So that's basically, you're just, teaching other people through your actions how to respect each other.
Sure. Have you personally benefited from a relationship with an older woman who's actually not your mother or your grandmother?
Yeah, actually, yes. Because I'm finishing my master's this week in clinical psychology. So.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and so, but I work with a lot of different women, but I have a supervisor that she's a really great mentor to me, because their experience is so valuable. They know things that I don't know, and if I listen and try to understand somebody that's gone through some stuff, I can benefit from that. And I provide her kind of with a fresh new perspective on things because of how I see things. So it's kind of a mutually beneficial relationship.
I found that women who get that and run with it, the fact that I'm going to be confident with myself, then when they get older, they can help their daughters and granddaughters do the same. But the ones who don't change, who decide they're just going to be just nasty and talk about people and just don't change, they become lonely older women.
Yeah, because eventually people just, there's a lot of hard stuff in life anyways. So, nobody wants to be around that 24/7. Eventually people just start to say, I want to enjoy my life, go out and live and be happy.
I don't know if it's because I'm a woman, but it seems like when you were talking about mentor things, the people who stick out in my mind who've made such an impression on me are women. I'm sitting here, I'm like, what man has made an impression, and each of them that are popping into my head right now that were my mentor or somebody I love so dearly that gave me such great advice, it's all, women. I can't think of them. I mean, I loved my dad and loved my grandfather, but the people who I felt were my mentors, but also the people that I feared the most and had, almost that funny thing when you say people change, someone in like school when I was in high school that, I feared because they just seemed evil and would beat you up or something like that. And when I ran into them like later in life as a woman, it was weird to have a conversation with them because to me they were still that mean, evil person, that they weren't nice, but they actually were just a normal, nice person talking to you, but I still envision them as this, mean, tough person. But it's pretty much, it's women. All the way around on both scales.
Because I think we look for those relationships because that some of our value comes from that. I think that we need to remember that our value needs to come inside, but there's always going to be we value those friendships and those sisterhoods. It really we need to feel understood, and women can do that with us.
Go ahead. No, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on. I want to say one more last thing before we let you go. You're, again, Female Fusion, different flowers from the same pot. Same garden, excuse me. Can you say any message that you want to end on before we close out the interview?
I think that the big thing I'm teaching a lot of my young girls in the workshops I'm doing is you first have to believe in yourself and then learn how to support each other positively, and then maintain some kind of a belief in something bigger than you so that you kind of leave this earth better than when you came in. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, Stacey, we can get to you through your website. Is that Stacey Rowcliffe, or is there another website you'd like to send people to for your book?
My book, you can get it at the store at my website. It's StaceyRowcliffe.com. It's also available on Amazon.com under Female.
And Rowcliffe is R-O-W, Row, Cliff, C-L-I-F-F-E. Stacey Rowcliffe, author of Female Fusion, Different Flowers from the Same Garden. I just love that name. I think I don't know. What flower are you, Stacey? What kind of flower are you?
I love.
Isn't that funny that we don't...
I like an orchid. I really like orchids.
Ooh, that's a beautiful flower. Very beautiful. Cassandra, can you think of one?
I don't know. I think hydrangea maybe because they're bright and vibrant.
Oh.
But I don't know enough about flowers to know. Maybe get Dale to tell us.
Yes, we're gonna figure that out. Well, one of the things that you say, it's fabulous to see more women believing in themselves when it comes to work, academics, and their personal lives. So thank you for letting us talk about female relationships and how they can inspire, and that we need to tear down the negative walls because women building women is how we keep growing stronger. So thank you so much for joining us today, Stacey Rowcliffe. Check out her book, Female Fusion, Different Flowers from the Same Garden. Thanks, Stacey.
Thanks for having me. Great to talk.